Hello everyone, welcome back to a new lecture. This is on nervous system, and nervous system has uh, two parts. One is a central nervous system which has brain and spinal cord, and the second part is peripheral nervous system, and peripheral nervous system has all the nerves outside the brain and spinal cord. So this is brain, and this is our cord, and all these nerves right here are part of autonomic, sorry, peripheral nervous system. So they transmit information to and from the CNS. So these are organs. They send information back and forth from these organs. I just showed heart, but there are many. Many goes to different parts, different organs. Same here. Okay, I just giving example of one of each system. We'll talk about that shortly. So let's move on to the next two parts. First is somatic nervous system, and another one is called autonomic nervous system. So it's very complex sometime when you have to start comparing these peripheral nervous systems, because um, they could be the information could be sound similar, but it is quite different. So let's talk about the first part of peripheral nervous system is somatic nervous system. So when a stimuli comes in from any part of the body, it goes to the central nervous system right here, um, and that nerve generally is called afferent nerve. Start with A. So afferent nerve. That nerve and that decision that has to go back to that um, organ is called the nerve that takes that to the back to the organ is called efferent nerve, and they are both are part of one nerve that just acting up. Okay, so when the response comes back, if it's just going to act on the skeletal muscle, and it's a voluntary action. For example, voluntary action means I wanted to raise my hand, or I wanted to scratch on my body, or I wanted to speak. So those are voluntary controls. So and that would affect a skeleton muscle, and on all of those nerve endings, acetylcholine is released at that muscle, so that contraction occurs. Okay, and in one of the example is involuntary, in case of knee jerk reaction. When you go visit a doctor, they have a paddler, they hit on your knee, and then you get a knee jerk. So that's one of the involuntary reaction, that just an example. But mostly is voluntary, and that is controlled by brain, and acetylcholine is generally um, released at the muscle site. Now let's talk about autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is completely opposite. Uh, not saying opposite. It acts on different type of muscles. So it's smooth and cardiac cells. It works on smooth and cardiac cells, um, and most of these actions are involuntary reactions. Involuntary reaction means you are digesting a food, and your heart rate beat is slow and fast, um, and they act on um, excretion system of our body, endocrine system of our body. So so that's autonomic nervous system is kind of involuntary reaction. So under autonomic system there are two more systems. One is called sympathetic, another one is called parasympathetic. So let's go back a little bit back to autonomic nervous system right here. I want to mention acetylcholine is released by all preganglionic neurons. So, so this is a autonomic nervous system. This is also autonomic nervous system. One is called parasympathetic, other one is called sympathetic. So their preganglion, this is preganglion. This section is preganglion, and this whole section from here to there is preganglion neuron. In both these systems, acetylcholine is released. Okay, but they were different at their post-ganglionic release. I will talk about a little bit later. This section, this small little section is post-ganglionic. This longer section here is post-ganglionic. Okay, so let's talk about sympathetic nervous system first. It's called fight and flight. During its activation, the heartbeat is faster, it stops digestion, and release of adrenaline. So that also fastens your heart, and also release of norepinephrine at the postganglionic neuron at the organ site. And at the other side, parasympathetic is rest and digest. It decreases the heart rate, which is this side, and acetylcholine is released at the organ site by their postganglionic neuron. So that's it from me. Have a good day.